New for you this morning, how close are we to seeing a COVID-19 vaccine? An experimental vaccine developed by Dr. Anthony Fauci's colleagues at the National Institutes of Health is showing some promise. In 12 days, a 30,000-person study is going to get underway to see if the vaccine is strong enough to protect you and your family members from the virus. So right now we are joined by Dr. Rafael Fonesca from the Mayo Clinic. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. So many questions. What do we know so far about the vaccine?
Thank you. The vaccine was developed with the idea of having a molecule that we call RNA express those proteins that the virus has. So the human body, when we see those proteins, we develop immunity. So what they tested was whether patients develop antibodies and they had the proper immune reaction. And the good news is that the early reports show that they do. This is still being in an early phase of testing. As you mentioned, this is expanding at the end of this month to test 30,000 individuals. But at this time point, this is the best we could hope for vaccine development in this regard.
Well, and the fact that we've seen some hope, we're also hearing that some of these trials will happen here in Arizona. But wouldn't this be record-setting speed when it comes to developing a vaccine? I mean, people wait decades for things like this.
So there is no question. Under normal circumstances, vaccines can take several years, sometimes up to 10 years. From the time people first published the genetic sequence of this virus, 45 days later, they had the product ready, and it was administered only 2 months after the sequence was obtained. So this is record-setting, and we're hoping, of course, that this ultimately becomes quickly available to the public. But there is no question. We've never seen anything as fast as what we're seeing right now with this vaccine.
Okay, you're with the Mayo Clinic, so you've seen a lot of science, a lot of research. I have to ask you this. I mean, I've heard people say, oh, when the vaccine comes out, I'm not going to be the first one to try it. How safe will it be because it's happening so fast? And I mean, let's talk about the side effects possibly, too. Should we be worried?
Correct. This vaccine and the report that was just published does show that sometimes people can experience some of the side effects that we expect with the vaccine. And what they really mean is just a normal immune reaction. I have to say, if I had access to this vaccine, I would have no hesitation in trying it just because of the details that have been presented. And hopefully, those listeners can think of this essentially as a major step forward in our ability to contain COVID.
Okay, well, there's certainly some hope there. I do want to ask you this. The director of the CDC thinks this nation can actually get a handle on COVID-19 in 4 to 6 weeks if everyone will wear a mask. Do you believe that's possible?
Oh, I think that would make a major dent, and it's important to wear masks to prevent the spread. I know there's great controversy around it, but we know the data is unequivocal that if you wear a mask, then the droplets that come out when we're speaking, when we're singing, are contained in closer proximity to your body. So I would encourage anyone who's listening to this to seriously consider the recommendations, because I think we can make a major dent. I don't know if in that time frame, but certainly we would see the results quite rapidly.
Well, Dr. Fonesca, we could talk for a very long time about all of this. We know that you are busy. Thank you very much for your time this morning, and thank you for giving us some hope here in Arizona. We can use it right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely some great information there, Kaylee. Thank you for that wonderful interview. Hey, 6:08 right now. School districts are continuing to release their fall semester plans right now. And we know as parents, all eyes are glued to exactly what's happening. So now the state's largest school district is finally releasing their plans for tens of thousands of students. Let's get to ABC 15's Mark Thompson right now, who's breaking that down for us. So, Mark, what are you finding out?
Good morning to you, Nick. Well, as you mentioned, the Mesa Public School District, they serve more than 60,000 students, making it by far the largest school district in the state. And last night, they held a virtual meeting that lasted for hours, where they finally were able to detail their plans for the upcoming school year. And board members, they made their decisions, they say, after speaking with parents, teachers, and the Maricopa County Health Department. Here are some of the highlights that parents need to know. The first week of school will begin online from August 4th to August 7th. Each day that week, there will be a 2-hour early release. Also, on every Wednesday for the fall semester, school will have a 2-hour early release. That's for staff to assess how the situation is going. The district, it will take a phased approach to the fall semester as well. Phase 1 is remote learning for all students. Phase 2, limited modified learning, where smaller groups of students will attend in class. And Phase 3, also modified learning, splitting students between in-class and remote learning. And Phase 4 is students are back in class. Now, this is very important as as well. During any of these phases, parents will have the choice to keep their kids at home and learn remotely. Board members say that this has not been an easy process.
This is a group that has had to take into consideration many voices from our employees, from our community, from our children, our students, and those voices aren't in unison. They all are saying something that is very personal to their situation. And their situations vary. What is important to them varies.
Now, there is no exact timetable as of yet as to when the district will move into phases 2, 3, and 4, but you can get more information this morning because the Mesa Public School District will release its official plan on its website coming up at 9 a.m. Reporting live this morning, Mark Thompson, ABC 15 Arizona. Back to you.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. And when it comes to education happening today, a motor march is going to be held in Mesa, calling on school and state leaders to keep our school classrooms for months here. The organizer is a special education teacher within the district, and she says in-person classroom learning should not begin until the county has 0 COVID-19 cases over a 2-week period. It's a vehicle parade. It gets underway at 11:30 this morning in the parking lot of the Dobson Ranch Library. Up next here on ABC 15 Mornings, are you ready to fly again? Some airlines will block that middle seat, others will not. And that policy could be a deciding factor to help keep you and your family healthy.
Plus, getting the economy to rebound, emergency loans and extra unemployment money has kept millions above water. But that money will soon dry up. What's next to keep us out of a recession?
All right, time right now is 6:14. Let's talk temperatures because we have really been watching those morning temperatures closely. We know that it's been very warm for the last several days, but this morning we finally dropped below 90 degrees. Our low temperature so far this morning, 89. Now, luckily that stayed well away from the record. The record today for the warmest low temperature ever recorded on this date is 96 degrees, which also happens to be the warmest low temperature ever recorded in Phoenix, no matter the date, no matter the month. Again, luckily we didn't set any records, but we finally also ended our streak of those low temperatures in the 90s. We did a 7-day stretch that tied for first place for the most consecutive days with temperatures at 90 degrees or higher. So that streak ending officially yesterday. Today again down into the 80s, and it's not just Phoenix, much of the rest of the valley back down into the 80s too. Wickenburg, you're the lucky spot, still holding on to those upper 70s at 79 degrees this morning. Anthem, you're not too far off. You're at 82. It's 80 in Cave Creek, 87 in Queen Creek. Chandler checking in at 83, 86 in Levine, and we're in the mid 80s right now in Glendale. As you look at those temperatures across the state, we are still holding on to the 90s out at Lake Havasu, but we are down into the low 80s in Bullhead City, 70 in Kingman, 73 in Sedona, mid 50s right now in Flagstaff. Good morning to you in Show Low. You're waking up to 63 degrees. Here's a look at those high temperatures for today. Another hot day here in the valley and in central Arizona with a high of 110 for Phoenix and in Casa Grande, 110 out at Lake Havasu, low hundreds today in Kingman, near 100 in Page today, and upper 80s for Show Low. That 30-year average is 106, so as you look at those valley high temperatures, we're going to end up at about 4 degrees above average in most valley cities, 110 for Chandler, Phoenix, Gilbert, Ahwatukee, Levine, and Glendale, 109 in Peoria, Tempe, Mesa, and Scottsdale, and then that temperature a little lower in Anthem and Cave Creek at 105. So as you see that hour by hour forecast, it's going to look very similar to what it looked like yesterday with that temperature hitting those hundreds by 11 a.m. So get those outdoor activities done sooner rather than later, and then we'll see that peak temperature of 110 at around 4 o'clock with triple-digit temperatures in the evening too. A change from yesterday is that today we are under an ozone high pollution advisory. Because winds will be lighter, the air will be stagnant. It looks like ozone pollution is going to build up into those unhealthy levels for people in sensitive groups. That includes children, folks who are elderly or maybe have breathing sensitivities. So if the heat doesn't keep you inside, maybe the air quality will. Again, we'll see those ozone concentrations climb this afternoon. Our burn time also under 10 minutes today. So if you do venture outside, make sure you're wearing that sunblock or protecting your skin. Today we hit 110, then tomorrow 111, highs near 110 through the weekend, but you're going to see that storm chance at 10% starting tomorrow. We'll talk about what that looks like on Futurecast, but know that there's at least a slight chance for a storm in the valley.
ABC 15 Desert Drive Time, sponsored by Accident Law Group.
All right. Thanks for the heads up, Iris. We appreciate it. I'm watching the roadways here. We're going to go up north because I have an update for this crash. So State Route 89 southbound at Antelope Villa Drive is where we have a wreck that's off to the right side. We don't have any main lanes blocked, barely any slowdowns. This is just before you get to State Route 89A, kind of closer to the airport. So heads up there if you're traveling in Prescott or around that area. North Valley, overall quiet right now for Carefree Highway, the 303, I-17. From the west side of town, we did see some breaks on I-10 approaching Loop 303, but they already went away, so now you're clear all the way through the stack to the mini stack. And East Valley showing all green flows for all of the Valley freeways. Desert drive times overall are still below average for this time of day, which is always great. Take a look at our ADOT camera. This is I-17, closer to the 19th Ave around the Durango curve. So if you need to travel taking that freeway into downtown Phoenix, smooth sailing.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chelsea. We appreciate that. It's almost 19 minutes past the hour, just into our newsroom. The country's second federal execution since 2003 delayed less than 1 hour ago. The death row inmate suffers from dementia. A judge halted that execution. An appeal is now being filed as we speak. The man was sentenced to death for the rape and murder of a teenager in Kansas.
Ghislaine Maxwell will stay in jail until her trial, which is set to begin next summer, so July 2021. A judge denying her bail, calling her a flight risk. Maxwell has been accused of helping Jeffrey Epstein sexually abuse young girls. She pleaded not guilty to federal sex trafficking charges.
Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg is in the hospital being treated for a possible infection right now. A spokesperson for the highest court says the 87-year-old is resting comfortably and is expected to be hospitalized for at least the next few days.
And starting today, Disneyland Hong Kong is going to have to close again. This is because of concerns over the coronavirus. The theme park reopened last month. The closure comes as Hong Kong officials said activities such as large social gatherings, dining in at restaurants, and going to the gym would all have to be temporarily suspended so they can get a hold of things. New this morning, as more people are flying again, an MIT professor is giving us some more insight into exactly what the risk is of catching the coronavirus if the middle seat is filled on the airplane. This has been controversial. The research assumes that everyone has a mask on board. The professor found 1 in 4,300 is your risk of getting COVID-19 on a full airplane, but it goes down to 1 in 7,700 if the middle seats are empty.
The takeaway is there is a difference. I think that it is statistically safer if the middle seat is kept open. The difference is measurable and perceptible.
Well, Delta, Southwest, JetBlue are blocking middle seats through at least September, but other major airlines like United and American say that they will continue filling up flights.
Well, exactly 1 month from today, the Arizona Cardinals are scheduled to play their first preseason game against the Green Bay Packers. Safety concerns for players remaining a top issue for the league, though. The NFL unveiling a new prototype. Check this out. It's a mouth shield. It is designed to reduce the spread of COVID-19, and players are supposed to start testing this thing this week. It goes behind the face mask. It has vents and a filter, and it goes in front of the player's mouth. The league and the Players Union haven't finalized any health and safety protocols just yet for the upcoming season.
621, it's tax day 2.0, but when will you get your return? Taxpayers finding out the hard way that there could be a big delay.
And the return to the classroom still up in the air for kids and teachers here in our state. But some high school students in the East Valley are supposed to head back to campus in just a few days. We'll talk about why next.
624 on a Wednesday. It's a new deadline for filing your taxes. Tax day 2.0 is what we're calling it. Sadly, millions of taxpayers though are getting some frustrating news from the IRS about delays with their refunds. Here's ABC 15's Allison Rodriguez.
Millions of Americans depend on that tax refund.
Well, we mailed it at the end of February and we waited.
Months later, so many don't have their refund.
18 weeks have gone by since we mailed in our return.
The IRS's National Taxpayer Advocate says as many as 4.7 million people will have very late refunds. That's because the agency furloughed thousands of workers and stopped processing paper returns for 2 months, creating a backlog.
It means a lot, especially because with everything going on, my husband's job, they've been really slow.
We're passing Chrissy's info on to the IRS, though it may not make a difference if her return is in a stack of thousands.
You kind of rely on that as part of, your income, and it's not there. It does make things a little sketchy.
With the tax deadline getting extended this year, more paper returns are about to be added to that stack.
And that was Allison Rodriguez reporting. Now, if you are someone who is still waiting for a refund, experts say really the only thing you can do right now is log on to the IRS website, see if you can check the status from there.
Well, if you are in job hunt mode, today the Chandler Chamber of Commerce is holding a virtual hiring event. 12 companies will make short presentations about their hiring opportunities. They're going to do this on a Zoom call. Some of them include Walgreens on the list, also Toyota Financial Services and Safe Street USA. That event starts this morning at 9. It runs through 10. Just go to chandlerchamber.com to register. Up next at 6:30, we are flying through the morning here. Is the worst behind us? Millions of people are out of work. So many people need to get their jobs back. Ahead, why an economic recovery could happen and soon for our state.
And parents, listen up. The state's largest school district revealing its plan for the upcoming school year. But will students actually be allowed into the classroom? I'm Mark Thompson. I'll break that all down straight ahead.
This is ABC 15 Mornings.
Hopefully your Wednesday is off to a great start. Thank you for starting your day with ABC 15 Mornings. I'm Kaylee O'Kelly here in studio. Our Nick Saletti is social distancing from home. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Kaylee. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Let's talk about that most accurate forecast because we are getting things off to another warm start out there. Meteorologist Iris Hermosillo joining us now with a look at our most accurate forecast. Hey, Iris.
Absolutely, Nick. Good morning. We are talking about those warmer temperatures, but at least they're in the 80s this morning. Unlike the last 7 days, we finally ended our stretch of those morning temperatures, those low temperatures in the 90s, because this morning we dropped to 89 degrees. It's not a big difference. I know you're probably not going to notice much of a difference as you step outside, but officially it's a change. That streak has ended. 89 degrees in Phoenix right now. Dew points in the low 50s. There's a little bit of moisture out there, but I don't think it's going to be too uncomfortable for you. Winds out of the east at 9 miles an hour. If you're heading outside, do it soon because temperatures will begin to warm up by 8 o'clock this morning. I think we're going to see some of those 90s setting in. And then by 11 o'clock, we'll see those triple-digit temperatures. That'll put us at 104 by lunchtime, mostly sunny into the afternoon, and then sizzling hot with a high of 110 degrees in Phoenix. Today looks mostly sunny and dry in the valley, but we will see storms in other parts of our state. Now, by tomorrow, things could change a bit. There's a slight chance for storms here in the valley, possibly some dust too. Only a 10% chance, but it's what we're watching as we kick off kind of this stretch of days where we see a slight chance for thunderstorms each afternoon and evening. The monsoon starting to maybe kick into gear a bit here in the valley. We'll talk more about that in just a few minutes.
Okay, Iris, thank you so much. Almost 6:32, safe, strong, and ready. That is the current slogan for the Mesa Public School District. New for you this morning, we are getting a better glimpse of what the fall semester could look like. Our Mark Thompson joining us now. And Mark, board members gathered a lot of input before making any decisions, which are set to be announced here in the next few hours. Good morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning to you, Kaylee. And board members, they held a 4-hour virtual meeting on Tuesday night, and they outlined their plans after speaking with thousands of parents, teachers, and even the county health department. Of course, Mesa is the largest school district in our state. School will begin on August 4th, and Mesa will have a 4-phased approach to the fall semester. Phase 1 begins with all students doing remote learning. Phase 2 and 3 will allow some students in class learning while others remain remote. And this is to keep those class sizes down. Phase 4, kids, they will be back in the classroom. Now, during any of these phases, parents do have the choice to keep kids home for on-class or home for online classes, and there is no exact timetable for when students will physically be able to return to the classroom. Now, we spoke with a Mesa special education teacher who's had experience at dozens of schools, and she says that in-class learning should not begin until August 17th, as suggested by the superintendent and the governor, saying that it is simply too much of a risk.
Most of us don't want to get sick. All of us don't want to get sick and don't want to influence our students, or don't want our students to influence us. It would be a horror show to have to go to a child's funeral or have my student come to my funeral.
Now, that was Judy Robbins, and she says she believes that no one should appear in class until there are at least 14 consecutive days without any new COVID-19 cases that pop up. But Mesa, they're going to announce their official rules and what they've decided. It's going to be on their website. They're going to release that at 9 a.m. this morning. So it's definitely something that parents are going to want to check out.